Hi there. It's a new month, but the message remains the same. Stop the spread of COVID-19. We have also been warned of a new strain of the virus and potential of a third wave. Don't be running away from COVID-19 for over a year to now get caught in 2021. Please stay vigilant. This is Jamaica Magazine and I'm Adrian Atkinson. The show begins right now.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, May 4. As more persons become vaccinated, the country is expected to see a difference in COVID-19 related hospitalizations and deaths. That's the outlook from Dr. Melody Ennis, Director of Family Health Services in the Ministry of Health and Wellness. She was addressing the ministry's virtual COVID conversations last Thursday. Dr. Ennis urged patience as the country waits to see the results of vaccination, particularly among vulnerable groups such as the elderly.
The vaccines will make a difference over time, but we've got to be patient. Now, we have started to vaccinate the most vulnerable group, and that would be our elderly persons. And we know that once they are fully vaccinated, we will expect to see a decline in hospitalization and certainly deaths.
Dr. Ennis says to date, approximately 50,000 of the 250,000 persons within that group have received the first dose of their vaccine. This is a long way from the target, and she is urging those with second dose appointments in May to go out and be fully vaccinated.
After you get the first dose, some about 28 or so days after that, you are protected at about 70%. But as time goes on, by the time you get to about 3 or 4 months, you're down to about 30%. So we do need the second dose to boost.
Government has widened the types of foreign assets in which domestic capital and financial intermediaries are allowed to invest. This took effect on April 30. It includes corporate foreign currency debt instruments issued by entities that are registered in Jamaica and earn foreign currency. Investment is also now allowed for publicly traded shares in such organizations that are issued in foreign currency. These firms must attain an investment credit rating of at least good or strong by global rating agencies or the Caribbean Information and Credit Rating Services Limited. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark says the targeted intermediaries are securities dealers, collective investment schemes, and pension funds.
We are creating the channels through which these intermediaries will find it easier and will be guided towards deeper and deeper investments in the local economy.
Minister Clark was speaking at Wednesday's virtual launch of the Caribbean Information and Credit Rating Services Jamaica office. The local office is the first to be established anywhere in the region outside of its headquarters in Trinidad and Tobago. The Ministry of Education is to develop a national higher education policy following Cabinet's approval. The policy, which seeks to govern the higher education sector, will increase quality assurance and monitoring of these institutions. Portfolio Minister Favour Williams provided details during her contribution to the sectoral debate recently.
The policy will provide a framework which should streamline that sector to work in a cohesive and efficient manner. In addition, a new funding model linking national goals and imperatives such as research and labour market requirements is to be developed through this Jamaica Tertiary Education Commission.
Jamaica has 3 universities, 5 community colleges, 6 teachers' colleges, 2 polytechnic colleges, and 4 workforce training institutions, which stand to benefit from the national higher education policy. Meanwhile, a revised appraisal model for teachers is being developed for implementation within the education sector. Portfolio Minister Favour Williams says the new model is being worked on by the Jamaica Teaching Council and the draft is expected to be settled soon.
The difference between this one and the past one is that this one is standards-based. It demands evidence of performance and is aligned to the national standards curriculum.
She says the model will be assessed every 2 years for its effectiveness as an indicator of professional practice and amended accordingly. A person of interest has been arrested in connection with the attack on 3 homeless persons on Sunday night in Kingston. Reports are that the 3 individuals were brutally beaten while asleep on the streets of downtown. This follows a similar attack on 5 homeless persons earlier this year. Mayor of Kingston, Delroy Williams, says all will be done to seek justice for the victims.
We at the KSAMC, we are indeed pleased that the police have a suspect in custody in this latest incident. And we continue to work closely with the police and with other residents and stakeholders as we follow the investigation.
Mayor Williams adds that keen attention will be placed on areas where the homeless converge. He says work will continue with private and non-governmental organizations for more investments in the lives of those living on the streets.
We also continue to explore avenues to ensure utmost safety and care of the homeless.
And finally, the Mayor of Kingston is calling on adults to support children as they try to cope during the pandemic and the upcoming end of the school year. Mayor Delroy Williams says the nation's children need an environment that fosters love, care, friendship, and appreciation. According to Mayor Williams, children also need adults in their lives who will be good role models. He was speaking on Sunday during a wreath-laying ceremony by the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation in memory of children who have died under violent or tragic circumstances. The ceremony is part of activities marking Child Month, being observed under the theme I Soar. I strive to overcome adversities with resilience. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thanks for watching.
The numbers keep climbing, and yet some of you are still complaining about curfew times. Is that being selfish or are you being smart? You continue to blame the government, stating they are not doing enough. But the big question is, are you doing your part to help decrease the spread? The unfortunate reality is that far too many people refuse to take the coronavirus pandemic seriously until they or someone they love gets infected. Now, this is what we do not want, and I don't believe I can stress this enough. Wear your mask, sanitize. Of course, we love to hug and socialize, but just ease off some of that right now. Not just for your safety, but also for others. It look hard for your relatives to be home doing all they need to in order not to catch the virus, and you out on the road being reckless and carrying it right home to them. Each one of us needs to help during this fight against COVID-19 as we work to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business in a healthy environment.
Coming up, answers to your questions on the COVID-19 vaccines. Listen up.
After you get your first dose, it takes a few weeks, about 3 or 4 weeks, before your body has produced sufficient protection to reduce your risk of COVID. So if you get exposed in the week or the second week after your first dose, you could still get COVID. But once you've had 3 to 4 weeks after the first dose, the risk of getting COVID is much, much less. After you get the second dose, 7 days after the second dose, you are fully protected. And therefore, it is rare to get COVID after you have 2 doses. We already know it lasts several months, but we don't know how long it will last. For instance, the flu vaccine often lasts only a year. You have to then get another flu vaccine the following year. We are hoping that the COVID vaccine will last longer than that. Maybe you will need a booster in a year or 2 years or 3 years. That is still to be determined, but we do know that the vaccine is good, so we are optimistic that it will give you protection for a good while. If someone is sick with COVID currently, then we do not advise them to take the vaccine while they're ill. After they recover, they are going to develop immunity and protection to getting infected again. So usually we say wait 4 to 6 months, since we know that people will have immunity for at least 6 months. So we say allow someone else, since there's such a problem with the number of doses available, allow someone else to get vaccinated and they could wait 4 to 6 months. But if they have recovered and they do take the vaccine, no harm will come to them. In fact, that will act as a booster to their immune system, so they'll be even more protected than before. Someone with lupus should get the vaccine because that's someone with a comorbidity. If they get COVID, they're at risk of having more serious attack of COVID. So as long as they're not having an acute flare-up, then they should get the vaccine. If they're having an acute flare-up of their lupus, as soon as it is controlled, is reasonably controlled, they should get the vaccine.
You have a comorbidity, then therefore you are definitely on our priority listing. So I want to encourage you to continue to build your immune system, eat right, certainly get some sun in the day, a lot of sleep, so that when it's your turn, your system will be ready to accept the vaccine.
Thank you.
It is a conversation to be had with your physician as to your current robust status. So if you are well, you are not having a flare at this time, then yes, you ought to take the vaccine.
Are you a small to medium-sized tourism enterprise? Borrow up to $25 million at an interest rate of 5%. You can use the funding to develop and maintain your infrastructure, upgrade or increase your capacity, enhance and expand your attraction, tour or event, and purchase raw material. Call the Exim Bank and ask about the Tourism SMTE loan. Their numbers are 876-630-1400 or 876-618-5889. Tap into the over $3 billion earned yearly through tourism with a SMTE loan.
Hand washing is essential to minimize the spread of COVID-19. Through a public-private partnership, hand wash stations have been erected at critical public spaces across the country. Take a look.
$3.5 million, an investment to encourage Jamaicans to keep washing their hands. Through this public-private sector partnership, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development has received 100 hand wash stations. The stations have been strategically installed to ensure the most vulnerable, primarily the elderly, can benefit and be protected against the coronavirus.
We're going to be placing one at all infirmaries across Jamaica. Will have one of these stations.
State-owned Golden Age homes are also recipients of the hand-washing stations. So too are town centers and municipal buildings across the country. The installation of the stations is in support of the government's COVID-19 response to safeguard those within the public domain. As everyone would have known by now, the World Health Organization stipulates that hand washing is an effective tool to prevent the virus and other diseases. And so, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development partnered with telecommunications giant Digicel to outfit these locations with the hand wash stations. Parish municipal corporations will have oversight for these stations within town centres and at the councils, while the Board of Supervision monitors those at the homes and infirmaries.
It is important that the public recognize the importance of it. We have a population of over 1,500 residents, and God has been good. Only 3 deaths so far across the country.
The donation of these hand washing stations are critical in the fight against the COVID-19 disease because, as you know, hand washing and sanitizing and practicing proper hand hygiene is a key element and key component in preventing and containing the spread of the disease, which is critical for our infirmaries at this time.
It's very important that the private sector cooperates and work alongside with the government, both central and local government, to effect change and to effect transformation and to reach out and to show a caring society.
This is precisely the kind of public-private partnership that we need, especially during this time as we confront the COVID-19 pandemic together. So when it is the Minister ODPEM reached out to us to say, let's get on board with providing more of these hand washing stations right across the country so that people can have ready access to just doing the basic thing of washing their hands.
It has been a collective response as we, as a country, unite to preserve and to maintain those in our country who are in need of state support.
So many wish they could visit our shores. We live where they vacation. Brand Jamaica beckons all from the 4 corners of the earth.
Well, as a Jamaican, I have great pride in selling it. Your pride that you sell Jamaica with is something that it rolls off. Jamaica has so much to offer, and every time I have the privilege of bringing an executive down to Jamaica, an executive from an airline or a tour operator or a travel agency, and you take them across the country, the pride that they said, wow, I can't imagine, especially when it's their first time. Wow, I love this.
Build it. Cherish it. Our wealth is Brand Jamaica.
Providing assistive devices for people living with a disability is a priority for the government. Through the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, persons are getting the access they need. Watch this.
I'm Dion Jennings, Chief Technical Director assigned to the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities. When we protect, promote, and secure the rights and well-being of persons with disabilities, we move closer to realizing Jamaica's Vision 2030 goals that of fostering inclusion, independence, access, and full participation of persons with disabilities in all spheres of national development. The Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, under the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, is charged with the responsibility for implementing policies and programs for persons with disabilities. The JCPD, through the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, will continue to provide support to persons with disabilities to access assistive aids and adaptive devices to enable their independence in their everyday life.
What is a hearing aid?
A hearing aid is a small electronic device that someone who has a hearing loss uses.
Are there different types of hearing aids?
There are different types of hearing aids, and usually they are associated with the type of hearing loss that you have. The behind the ear can be used by anyone who has any levels of hearing loss, from a mild to a profound level. Then you have a receiver in the canal hearing aid, basically for persons with a mild to moderately severe hearing loss. They may have a bud, and if you have a greater loss, then a custom-made mold is attached to the RIC hearing aid, which is a receiver in the canal. Then you have an in-the-ear hearing aid, again, that is used by persons who have a mild to a profound hearing loss. Then you have in the canal hearing aid. That is used by persons, again, who have a mild to a moderately severe hearing level. The last hearing aid that we have is called the completely in the canal, and that is used for persons with a mild to moderately severe hearing loss.
Tips to care for hearing aids.
There are different types of hearing aid, and all of them are taken care of the same way, in the sense that they all use a battery, and you're not to use any liquid on the hearing aids. So there is a brush that normally comes with the product that you will clean off any wax or any moisture. Use it on a piece of tissue or a soft rag, and you take out the wax out of the openings of the hearing aid. So this is an in-the-ear hearing aid, and so this is taken care of by putting in the battery here, and then you remove it, leave the battery door open, put down in the case, and then if you have a behind-the-ear hearing aid, it's basically the same way. You have the battery door, and you remove the battery, you have the brush, you clean around the tips of the hearing aid, and you clean by the opening of the hearing aid, and you do not use any cleaning agent on the hearing aids. Also, at the tip of the hearing aid, you may have what is called a hair clear, and that is replaced whenever it is blocked with wax. So you put that on the tip of the hearing aid, and you insert it on the opening of the hearing aid so that it protects the hearing aid from excessive wax getting into the instrument itself. And then you remove this and you discard this as well. And that is basically all you have to do to take care of your hearing aids. Do not swallow the battery for the children. Do not leave it out for the animals to come and play with them. And you open the drawer, put it in its case, leave it open so that if there's any moisture in the hearing aid, it can evaporate. So parents, guard the hearing aid, protect them from any excessive moisture. So no cleaning of alcohol, no cleaning agent, no bleach or anything like that. Just when you remove it from your ears, like this, you take it out, you open the battery drawer, remove the battery, and you put it down in the case. And basically that's all you have to do to take care of the hearing aid that you have.
Where can I get information or help?
More information and help is available at the Jamaica Association for the Deaf, located 9 Morisco Road with entrance on Caledonia Lane in the Kingston 5 area.
What is a wheelchair?
A wheelchair is a chair with wheels used when walking is difficult or impossible due to illness, old age, or disability.
Are there different types of wheelchairs?
Yes, there are different types of wheelchair. Actually, you have 3 types: standing wheelchair, electrical wheelchair, and manual wheelchair.
Tips to care for wheelchairs.
Some tips for caring for the wheelchair are: 1. To remove all dust from the wheelchair frame by using a damp cloth. 2. Check the tires to ensure that they are still hard. Use a bicycle pump to add air if necessary.
A production of the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities, a department of the Ministry of Labour and Social Security.
Practice good hygiene by washing your hands frequently using soap and water. Here's how you should do it while conserving water. Turn on the tap to wet your hands, then turn off the pipe. Lather your hands and the tap with soap. Turn on the tap and wash your hands, back, front, and in between fingers. Use some of the water to wash off the tap, then turn it off. Dry your hands with disposable hand towels. If you don't have running water, use a hand rub containing 62% or more alcohol. If hand sanitizers are not available, rubbing alcohol, Dettol, white rum, or household bleach will do the trick. And if all else fails, let hand washing and the handling of potable water be a two-person event. Each person will take turns pouring and washing hands with sitting water. Now is a good time to consider installing a tap on your containers to reduce the risk of water contamination. Faucets can be easily attached to drums, buckets, or 5-gallon water bottles. And to ensure that the outside of the containers are clean when recapping, disinfect it with hand rub containing alcohol that's 62% or more. The 5 R's of water conservation are also necessary to practice. Reduce water wastage by investing in water-saving devices. Reuse water at least twice before discarding. Replace leaking pipes, faucets, and other plumbing equipment. Recycle wastewater and use it for gardening, car washing, or cleaning of public spaces. And reclaim water through rainwater harvesting. We all must play our part to ensure there's water to combat the coronavirus and stave off prolonged drought.
You've reached the final page of the magazine. Thanks so much for being with us on today's journey. Another Jamaica Magazine unfolds tomorrow, so come back same time on this same station. Until then, do go to our website, YouTube channel, and social media pages for more informative features. While there, please subscribe to our pages and channels so you can stay in the know. I'm Adrian Atkinson, reminding you to mask up, sanitize, and stay 6 feet apart.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.